The cop grew suspicious and told him that he wants everyone out of the car, now! Vaughn was hiding in the back seat trying to not get caught. But he did the unthinkable. He shot at the cops before they could catch him. They immediately left the scene and went to Dirk's mansion, leaving the cops to die there. After arriving and talking about what happened for hours, Dirk told Vaughn that there's no way out of this. You won't be able to live normally if you don't turn yourself in. He suggested that he turns himself in and he'll pay for his lawyers. And hopefully, he'll get a reduced sentence. Seeing that he had no choice, Vaughn accepted it. Dirk went ahead and called 911 and told them everything except for the death of the two officers. He only told them about the robbery and that Vaughn is hoping to turn himself in. Cops told Dirk to give them the location, and he gave it to them, and they said that they'll be with him in a short while. Dirk told Vaughn to get ready and throw away any weapon he has to not get in more trouble. Kingvon was arrested and stayed in jail for a couple of weeks awaiting trial along with T-Roy. Then the day of the trial came. Vaughn and T-Roy were both charged with robbery, but Vaughn was added an aggravated fleeing charge next to it. They brought out T-Roy first to the courtroom. The place was full, and everyone was ready to start. Kingvon on his turn came too. Dirk was there too, along with some friends. Kingvon and T-Roy's families and friends were also attending the sentencing. Lawyers were ready as well, so the trial then could begin. T-Roy and Vaughn were briefly seen speaking about their fate here, to which Vaughn responded that everything gonna be okay, as him and Dirk planned everything. The lawyers did their best to try to beat the charges against the both of them, doing the absolute possible to convince the judge to reduce the sentence as much as possible. While the judge was listening to the lawyers' stands, Vaughn and T-Roy's families were nervous and expecting the worst as all the evidence were against them. Basically, there's no way out of this. The judge heard enough and finally made up his mind over the sentence. He sentenced T-Roy to 6 months in prison and 1 year of probation, and Kingvon sentenced to 1 year in prison and 1 year in probation. Shortly after the trial, Kingvon, T-Roy, and 2 other offenders were being transported to the Cook County Jail of Chicago on a prison bus. Vaughn and T-Roy expected worse, to be honest. So the lawyers did a really good job to manage to get them this much time. Vaughn and T-Roy were no strangers to prison's atmosphere, as they've been inside quite a few times. Other offenders probably gonna be happy to see them back, like D. Rose and other people from the Black Disciple Gang. However, the Gangster Disciple Gang won't be very happy about this, as they're their biggest enemies. Vaughn and T-Roy couldn't give 2 damns about them. They've been beating them every day in prison. After they arrived, the guards were chuckling as they knew Vaughn very much, and how much of a troublemaker he is. They began the protocol of cuffing them, and then taking them inside to capture their mugshots.
You can hold your special friend's hand, but that's it.
Vaughn went inside first to get his mugshot captured. After Vaughn's mugshot was taken, T-Roy was told to go next to get his mugshot as well. After that, they were both taken to their cells. Vaughn and T-Roy started looking at the place as if it was their next home. They kind of missed it since it's been a while since they were arrested. Vaughn told T-Roy that he's going to go outside to look for people whom they could recognize. He began looking around for his homies, but there was nobody, so he decided he'll go sit there to think about stuff while T-Roy's still inside. Two sketchy fellas who were definitely BDK spotted Vaughn and began walking towards his location, trying to start something. They started pressuring him while telling him that he's a dead man and that he shouldn't have been here. They were grieving the loss of their homie Dale, who passed away shot to death by a possible Lamron member, to which Vaughn was cool with. Vaughn stood up to them, showing that he's not afraid of them. That's until the other guy pulled up a switchblade and seemed about to start something. That's when T-Roy sneaked in from behind, trying to not make a sound. And he went and choked the guy with the switchblade while Vaughn knocked out the dude in front of him. T-Roy strangulated the other guy until he passed out due to lack of oxygen. Vaughn picked up his switchblade and ran away before guards could take them to the shoe. One of the dude's homies came to help them get on their feet. The gang member was mad and made sure to not let this slide. He promised that he will eliminate Vaughn and T-Roy before they could leave this place. Like and subscribe for part 3, guys. Bye!